Yeah, so my name is Nicole. I'm a supporter of Mr. Mao's Guo, and I'm also a member of the new Federal State of China, which is founded by Mr. Mao's Guo, aimed at taking down the Chinese Communist Party.
And what do you think happened in this story? Do you think Mr. Mao's Guo is unfairly prosecuted?
Absolutely. There's injustice, there's a persecution, and there's a racial discrimination against Mr. Mao's Guo. On March 15th, FBI sent over 100 agents who raided Mr. Mao's Guo's residence over on the 18th floor. And 6 hours after Mr. Mao's Guo was taken to the court for interrogation, someone reported there was a mysterious fire that broke out and damaged the property. And during that time, FBI presumably were the only people remaining inside that residence. So we demand the Congress to start an investigation into the origin of the fire and also investigate into Mr. Mao's Guo's cases, because these lawsuits have been funded by the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party. And also on March 15th, at the court hearing, the federal prosecutor admitted in the court before the federal judge that they have made lots of contact with the Chinese Communist Party government during the prosecution of Mr. Mao's Guo. Imagine, this is during the World War II. America's federal prosecutor collaborated with Nazi Germany to prosecute American Jews in American court. So that's how serious this injustice is. So we demand all the American people call your congressmen, write to your senators, and demand Jim Jordan's selected subcommittee on the weaponization of the federal government agencies to investigate into the CCP's weaponization in the DOJ, FBI, and SEC, and look into Mr. Mao's Guo's case, and especially the origin of that mysterious fire.
So there's some speculation out there that the place was booby-trapped and the fire started to destroy evidence. Do you reject that notion?
That's $1 million question, and that's why we need the Congress, the Jim Jordan's selected subcommittee on the weaponization of the federal government agencies to send subpoenas and launch an investigation into the origin of the fire, because during the time, it's only the FBI who were inside that residence, and there was a fire, and we don't know what has been burned, and we don't know who set the apartment building into fire. So those are the questions we demand an immediate investigation. And as we speak now, Mr. Mao's Guo is still being held in federal custody, and we also demand an immediate release of Mr. Mao's Guo from the injustice and the federal custody.
But you reject the notion that the fire was caused by Mr. Mao's Guo.
Absolutely. This is a false narrative spread by the Chinese Communist Party. Remember, Mr. Mao's Guo is CCP's enemy. And so all the CCP propaganda, if they say it's Mao's Guo who set the apartment building on fire, it's absolutely false narrative. And I hate to see the American mainstream media start echoing, repeating the same false narrative. This is a great country on the earth. We're not a Republican, we're not a banana republic. So I encourage people to stay informed and go to the nfscofficial.com to learn more about this movement and to learn more about Mr. Mao's Guo, because if you follow the mainstream media, which has been pretty much influenced and bought out by the CCP, you will not be able to find the truth. So follow Mr. Mao's Guo's Getter account and follow NFSC Speaks on Getter account.
What do you want the American public to know? Something that the mainstream media has omitted? Like, is there any message that has not been put out there that you have for the American public?
Absolutely. It's actually been reported over the years. The CCP has spent, tens of millions of dollars buying the influence and spreading their own propaganda in America's mainstream media. We know for a fact that the Wall Street Journal, New York Times, Washington Post, and a number of other America's mainstream media have been taking tens of millions of dollars from the CCP to run their propaganda ads. And we also know that Bloomberg, very strangely, they actually published a over 1,000 word article before the DOJ and Southern District of New York published their own press release about Mr. Mosquo's arrest. So who leaked that information? How come the CCP's propaganda knew ahead of time before even the DOJ announced the arrest? I mean, so those are the questions that American people should be asking. And don't forget, if the CCP can weaponize America's DOJ and the FBI and the SEC and the IRS to go after a Chinese dissident, they can come after you. They can come after you. And we already saw the news that next week they're going after the former U.S. President Trump. We know General Flynn and the J6 people have also been persecuted. So imagine, if this country's government agencies have been weaponized and politicized by a small number of corrupted officials, what would happen to each and every American citizen? So today is Moscow, tomorrow it might be you. So the CCP has a very clear plan to take over and to take down America, and Mr. Moscow and this movement, the new federal state of China, happens to be in their way.